Imagine traveling back in time, not just a few hundred years, but millions. We would find ourselves in a world vastly different from our own. Here, in what is now modern-day Ethiopia, lived an extraordinary creature. Her name is Ardi, and she walked the earth an incredible 4.4 million years ago. She is one of the oldest and most complete skeletons of an early human ancestor ever discovered. Finding her was like uncovering a hidden chapter in the grand story of life, a chapter that helps us understand the very first steps our ancient relatives took on their long journey towards becoming human. Ardi belonged to a species known as Ardipithecus ramidus. She lived in a lush, wooded environment, quite unlike the open savannas we often associate with early humans. This woodland was her home, her playground, and her source of food. Picture a landscape teeming with ancient plants and animals, a world where survival depended on being adaptable. Ardi wasn't alone. She was part of a community navigating the challenges of this prehistoric world. Her discovery provides a remarkable snapshot of life, long before the famous Lucy, another early human ancestor, came onto the scene. For many years, scientists have worked tirelessly to piece together the puzzle of our origins. The discovery of Ardi was a monumental breakthrough in this quest. Her skeleton, though ancient and fragile, was remarkably complete. It included her skull, hands, feet, and pelvis, giving us a detailed look at what she was truly like. Before Ardi, our knowledge of this period in human evolution was very limited, based on scattered fragments of bone. Ardi changed all of that, offering us a chance to meet a distant relative face to face, so to speak, and to learn her secrets. Understanding Ardi is like finding a key to a locked door. This door leads to the very roots of our family tree, a time when our lineage was just beginning to diverge from that of the other great apes. She represents a critical point in our evolutionary history, a creature that was neither ape nor human in the modern sense, but a fascinating blend of both. Her existence challenges us to rethink what we thought we knew about our earliest ancestors and the path they took. Her story is not just about bones, it is about the journey of life itself. When we think of our closest living relatives, we often picture chimpanzees. For a long time, many people believed that humans evolved directly from an ancestor that looked and behaved very much like a modern chimp. Ardi, however, tells a different and far more interesting story. She was not a chimpanzee. Her features were a unique mosaic, a combination of traits that we see in both apes and humans today. This discovery was profound because it showed that the last common ancestor we shared with chimps was likely not a chimp at all, but something entirely different. Let's look more closely at Ardi's amazing anatomy. Her hands, for instance, were quite primitive, with long, curved fingers that were perfect for grasping branches and moving through the trees. Yet they were also surprisingly flexible, more so than a chimpanzee's, which are specialized for knuckle walking. Her pelvis was also a curious mix. The upper part was broad and short, similar to that of a human, suggesting she could stand and walk upright. The lower part, however, was more ape-like, providing attachment points for powerful leg muscles used in climbing. Her face and teeth also reveal this fascinating blend of features. While her brain was small, about the size of a chimpanzee's, her face was less projecting. It didn't jut out as much as a modern ape's face does. Furthermore, her canine teeth were small and diamond-shaped, much like a human's, rather than the large, sharp fangs seen in male apes, which are often used for display and fighting. This suggests that the social behaviors of Ardi's species might have been different from those of many modern primates, perhaps with less aggression between males. This combination of traits makes Ardi so special. She demonstrates that evolution is not a simple straight line. Instead, it is a complex and branching process, where different features evolve at different rates. Ardi was not a missing link in the popular sense of being half ape, half human. She was a fully formed creature in her own right. perfectly adapted to her environment. Her existence proves that the ancestor we share with chimpanzees was a creature unique to its time, and we have much to learn about what it was truly like. For a long time, the scientific community debated just how Ardi moved. Her ape-like feet, complete with a grasping big toe similar to an opposable thumb, led many to believe she spent most of her life in the trees. They imagined her as an arboreal specialist, rarely venturing down to the ground. This picture seemed plausible, given her woodland habitat and her clear adaptations for climbing. However, the story of science is one of constant discovery, and a recent closer look at her bones has completely transformed our understanding of Ardi's world and her place within it. The key to this new revelation was a tiny piece of her skeleton, an ankle bone known as the os navicular. A team of scientists decided to re-examine the fossils of Ardi's foot, using advanced imaging techniques to study its structure in minute detail. They compared her ankle bone to those of modern chimpanzees, gorillas, and humans. What they found was astonishing. While her foot was clearly built for climbing, the specific shape and connections of this ankle bone were different from those of apes that spend all their time in trees. The scientists discovered that Ardi's ankle had a unique structure that would have provided stability when her foot was flat on the ground. The way the bones fit together would have allowed her to push off with her foot as she walked, a crucial movement for efficient bipedal locomotion. This was a feature not seen in modern tree-dwelling apes like chimpanzees, whose feet are much more flexible for grasping. This single bone told a powerful story. Ardi was not just a climber, she was also a capable walker, comfortable moving on two legs across the forest floor. This finding forces us to redraw our picture of Ardi. She was not confined to the canopy. Instead, she was a versatile creature, a true generalist. She could ascend into the trees to find food or escape from predators using her grasping feet and long arms. But she could also descend to the ground and walk upright between patches of woodland. This ability to live in both worlds, the arboreal and the terrestrial, was a significant advantage. It represents a crucial transitional phase in our evolution, a step away from a life spent entirely in the trees and towards a life on the ground. The story of Ardi and her ankle bone is a perfect example of how science works. It is a process of questioning, examining evidence, and being willing to change our minds when new information comes to light. The initial belief that Ardi was purely a tree dweller was a reasonable conclusion based on the evidence available at the time. But science does not stand still. With new technologies and fresh perspectives, we can revisit old discoveries and uncover deeper truths. The study of Ardi's ankle shows that even the smallest bone can hold the key to rewriting a major chapter of our history. This discovery clarifies our relationship with our chimpanzee cousins. It reinforces the idea that humans did not evolve from chimpanzees. Rather, both humans and chimps evolved from a common ancestor that lived millions of years ago. Ardi shows us that this ancestor was not necessarily a knuckle-walking, chimp-like creature. Instead, our earliest relatives may have been more generalized with a unique way of moving that combined climbing with upright walking. Ardi is a window into that distant past, helping us piece together a more accurate picture of our shared origins and the separate evolutionary paths our lineages took. Learning about Ardi is fundamentally about learning about ourselves. Every fossil fragment, every scientific study adds another piece to the immense and beautiful puzzle of human origins. It connects us to a deep and ancient past, reminding us that we are part of a grand evolutionary story that has been unfolding for millions of years. Ardi shows us that the journey to becoming human was not a simple, linear march of progress. It was a complex exploration of different ways of living, with creatures like her experimenting with new forms of movement and behavior. Ardi's legacy, therefore, is one of wonder and curiosity. She invites us to look back in time and marvel at the incredible adaptability of life. She teaches us that our family tree is more complex and more fascinating than we ever imagined. By studying her ancient bones, we gain a profound appreciation for the long and winding road that led to us. She is a reminder that the quest to understand where we come from is a journey that continues with every new discovery, a journey that helps us understand our own place in the natural world.